On today's episode of What's Going On with Shipping, be very, very quiet. I'm a stealth ship. I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano. Welcome to today's episode. So there is a lot happening in and around the Arabian Peninsula. We've got the situation between Israel and Gaza. We have Iran, we've got the Houthi, and we have a massive deployment of naval forces moving into the area. This chart was put together by Ellis, and it documents a lot of the issues that we're seeing with naval forces in and around the region. The Teddy Roosevelt battle group up in around the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, the WASP amphibious ready group in the Eastern Mediterranean, slew of destroyers around the area and other support vessels. But what I want to talk about today is one vessel that was mentioned on that list, and that was the subject of a long Twitter thread by Ian Ellis Jones, and is the ship known as the motor vessel Ocean Trader, the stealthiest ship in the world. If you're new to the channel, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. So if you look at this chart put out by Ian, you'll see it mentions right here U.S. SOF drone and helo motherships. And you'll note here U.S. Special Operations Command mothership motor vessel Ocean Trader, capable of launching drones and helicopters in seas, was spotted in Manama, Bahrain by NMORS 9927. Now the ship he's referring to is not this one. This is the USS Lewis B. Puller. The Puller is of a class of Alaska super tankers that have been converted. They were never as tankers. Basically, the design of the Alaska tanker was modified, and these became what are known as expeditionary support bases. You can see the lines of the tanker where she was. What they basically did is cut out the tanker section. They put this huge, massive flight deck on board. There's a large berthing area forward for naval and special operators personnel, and then back aft is where the military Sea Lift Command crew is. They can launch drones and boats from the well deck or from the main deck here, and helos. Expeditionary support bases. We're building about a half a dozen of these. Puller is stationed out in the Persian Gulf, known as ESBs. They're about $500 million a piece. But what Ian Ellis is talking about is in this thread right here. Meet motor vessel Ocean Trader, a one-of-a-kind shadowy special operations mothership literally designed to hide in plain sight. Operating AIS, that is the Automated Identification System DARC, under commercial guise and hoisting false flags, it can launch drones, helos, boats, and SEALs. Much is classified, but here is what we know. I'll have the entire thread here available to you. I wrote about this ship way back in 2017 over at the Center for International Maritime Security, CIMSEC, where I called Ocean Trader, at the time it was known as Craigside, as the ultimate stealth vessel. They basically, under contract with the U.S. Special Operations Command, Military Sea Lift Command, had a ship contracted with Maersk. Today it's with U.S. MMI, to convert a roll-on, roll-off ship into a special operations vessel. This is the vessel down in Alabama undergoing a conversion into that special operations vessel. You'll see the addition of a helo hangar up here forward of the house, the addition of several hatches here on the starboard side that allows for the swinging out of boats, and additional crew accommodation. Now, I want to be clear, I am not divulging any sort of operational secret here. This vessel has been out in the news quite a bit. This is from the war zone, all the stories they've had on it. So they've talked about this ship quite a bit. It's not that this vessel is top secret and I'm violating any rules. So the ship is listed as a commercial vessel, and it is a commercial vessel. It is operated by a U.S. company for the Special Operations Command through Military Sea Lift Command. Here is the information off Equus on Ocean Trader. It has an IMO number. It is flagged in the United States. It is operated by U.S. Marine Management Incorporated. U.S. MMI is the company that runs it. If you go over to Military Sea Lift Command and look at their year in review, or if you look at their basically list of ships, you will notice that Ocean Trader is not mentioned at all on it. It used to be mentioned as a contract on their contract page, but now it is no longer even mentioned on the contract page. Here is Ocean Trader on AIS, this is marine traffic. So all vessels are supposed to be squawking their automated information system. You'll notice that Ocean Trader is shown here off the east coast of Africa until you take a look at what date it was last shown. That is September 1st, 2019. It has been out of range for 1,767 days. This is a ship that has been operating very quietly. If, however, we pull up the photographs, you'll see that it has been photographed coming in and out of ports all the time. So, for example, right here, you'll see, here's December of 2022 of the vessel. You'll see it in other spots here too. Here's one, July 2022. Here's coming into Tokyo Bay in 2023. You'll see it pop up every now and then. It will show up occasionally on Twitter and other ship spotting sites. Now, the reason I show you that ship is not because it's a cool stealth ship and it's running out there. They're operating AIS dark, and they look like a normal commercial ship. When you look at her, you don't see a name on it. They rarely will fly the flag. There's no IMO number listed on it. They are operating pretty well clandestinely, operating in and out. And my question is not, why do we have the Ocean Trader? It's like, why don't we have a dozen of those things? I think that's the way to go. Why are we not converting more ships like that to do missions? The ESBs, the Polar, it's a $500 million ship. You can build these Ro-Ros a lot cheaper and put a lot more of them out there. And as a matter of fact, it wasn't just us that was looking at this. This comes from Navy Lookout. This was the proposal the British had, the Royal Navy, to convert a similar vessel into what they were calling the Littoral Strike Ship. Now, Littoral Strike Ship is much different than a Littoral Combat Ship. They basically were going to take a ship that looks like almost identical to Ocean Trader and deck it out here in a full military outfit. Sea Whiz, helicopters on deck, very similar to what we see. And this Littoral Strike Ship has its precursors. If you go back to the Falklands War of 1982, the British did this with ships like Atlantic Conveyor or the Baltic Ferry right here, where they took these ships up from trade, stuffed ships taken up from trade, and converted them into kind of military auxiliaries. And if you look right here, they go through the whole aspect here of the vessel, put a big stern ramp on it, have watercraft so that they can move craft from an anchor afloat. You'll have a flight deck on board, boats that can be swung out. You'll have a hangar on board, davits to move stuff out, and of course a big stern ramp. And you know what was really interesting is the versatility that this ship brings. And if you look at the internal arrangement, you use that Ro-Ro deck for mission storage, everything from vehicles to potentially even more helicopters, accommodations back aft. This is just a really interesting platform. And what the British were talking about is you can use this as a hospital aid ship for a variety of different methods, convert it into a pure medical vessel. My idea would be you can use vessels like that to replace the maritime prepositioning and the Army prepositioning vessels. Those ships can carry about a battalion's worth of gear on board. And I think they would be great. You can station one in each of the little fleets around the world, the 2nd Fleet, 3rd Fleet, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th Fleet, and each of the fleets would have one of those vessels. Not as expensive in the ESB, but a lot of versatility that you get from the vessels. And if you needed to, you can bring them together and land a much larger force. It's the Voltron model of ocean shipping. And I compare this concept of taking a roll-on, roll-off vessel like the Craigside, which became Ocean Trader, converting it into Ocean Trader, this platform vessel that can be hidden, you know, among ships around the world. It's really benign. No one really pays much attention to it, versus the concept that the Marines are floating out there of the landing ship medium. These are landing ships that they want to build that will be used in and among the first island chain to land Marines. And the Marines make the argument, along with the Navy, that these ships will blend in. They're not going to blend in because they don't look like a lot of other vessels that have capabilities. They want these vessels to be able to beach. And this is kind of the requirement they're setting out for them to carry, you know, 50 Marines, equipment, For some reason, they want to compare them to whales. I don't know why in this diagram they do, but they love to say that they can carry as much as 4 whales on board. It's a strange comparison. But to me, the Ocean Trader is a much more versatile platform to be used. You can put landing craft on them, LCMs, barges, the causeway ferries, and be able to land everything ashore. You don't have to beach. Beaching is really tough. It's tough on the ship. It's really dangerous for the ship, and you have to have the right beach to do it. And there's not always the right beach out there. Landing craft and causeway ferries are much better. Believe me, they work a lot better than they did off the coast of Gaza. And there are commercial vessels like the Ocean Trader that are out there. This is Flensburger. This is a shipbuilder located up in Kiel in Germany. And they're building roll-on, roll-off vessels like that. They're Ro-Ro 7100s or the 4100s. That's how many square meters of cargo space they have. Are ideal for this. The 4100s in particular there are basically what Craigside Ocean Trader is. You can build them locally in the United States. You can build them overseas if you want to convert them. But you can take those. You can also take those designs, build them commercially in the U.S. They can be part of your sea lift recapitalization, replacing the roll-on, roll-off ships that are over 40 years old in the reserve fleet. They can be leased to commercial firms to operate up and along the east and west coast of the United States to help get traffic off I-5, I-95, promote the maritime highway system. And you can be converting them, some of them, over into ships like Ocean Trader are out there, and send them out there. They provide a presence mission where maybe you don't need a large gray $500 million ESB or a U.S. Navy destroyer or an amphib, an LHA, LHD, or an LPD. This ship gives you a lot of versatility and emphasis on being out there and doing presence. They're much larger offshore patrol vessels and have great versatility. You can put a unit of Marines on board, you can put Army on board, you can put Coast Guard on board, you can do just a jack of all trades on vessels like that. They are really stealthy vessels, and I think that is something we need to be focusing on much more. I think if you have them out there too, they blend in a lot more than just the one that's out there. This vessel has been operating since 2017, so we've gotten 7 years out of Ocean Trader, and I think we're at a moment, an inflection point here with the drawdown of the prepositioning fleet, the aging of the sea lift fleet, that we really need to start talking about investment in some commercial ship construction, and a ship the size of a Flensburger 4100 roll-on, roll-off, or the larger version. We can start building those, converting some of those into vessels like Ocean Trader. You can also convert them into tenders and a whole variety of different auxiliaries that are vastly needed out there. You can use the build model that was used to build the national multi-mission security vessels, the new training ships that are being built up at Philly for the 5 state maritime academies. Empire State, the very first one, just came back from its first training cruise. Not 100% success, but first ship in the class, always a bit of an issue. But you can use the model of ship construction there, avoid Navy Sea Systems Command, NAVSEA, and just build these ships to a commercial standard. They're not warships. They're not replacing amphibs. They're not replacing gray hull destroyers, but they go out in missions where you need presence. And I think they would be a really great one to invest in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be alerted about new videos as they come out. Leave a comment, share it across social media, and if you can, support the page. How do you do that? You hit the super thanks down below, or head on over to Patreon, where you become a monthly or yearly subscriber. Until the next video, Sal, signing off.